Hello, I'm Sophie D'Souza. Welcome to my channel, Sophie's Stained Glass. Lots of interesting and unusual videos about architectural glass, but mainly leaded glass with a bit of fusing and painting thrown in for good measure. Today's a bit different because I have made a leaded glass ornament. What? Not copper foil, I hear you say. Yeah, that's because I don't do copper foil. And there's lots of people out there doing copper foil much better than if I was to try and make a video about copper foil. But I thought it'd be interesting to see what a leaded glass ornament would look like, and I think it looks rather smart. I hope you'll agree. I've done a little bit of decorative soldering work, and what I mean by that is I've added some wires. I've added some tinned wires with little stamens and blobs. We're liking the blobs. Little dangly hook. It's made of opaque glass, which, as someone who makes windows, I very rarely use. It upsets the balance of light if I put an opaque piece of glass in with, even with streakies, it doesn't work. Streakies are okay with transparent glass, but yeah, it just blocks the light. So perfect for an ornament though. And I've had this piece of glass hanging about, loitering in my workshop for years. So hey, I finally found a use for it. As we know, you always will if you keep something for long enough. So yes, I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you. So this is the kind of thing I'm going to make. It is obviously intended for copper foil, but I'm just going to show you that you can make ornaments with a leaded technique. I'm using opaque glass, which is not something I would normally ever put in a window. So I've had this piece for a while. Opaque glass is different both sides, which is quite nice. You can't really see through it very well, even on a light box. I suppose you can a bit. I suppose you can. That's not too shabby, is it? Okay, so if you can't see through it, what you have to do is basically cut up your pattern. So you would cut out one of your pieces, lay it on your glass, draw around it to give yourself your line for cutting. But I think I'm going to get away with this. And as we know, we like to get away with things. All about labour saving. I am drawing this out, which is not something that I often do. Mostly I just put my glass over my pattern and cut straight away. But because of the difficulty seeing through this pattern, I thought it might make it easier for me just to do it this way. What's that? That's 7. Hang on a minute. I've just drawn the same one twice. Okay, don't draw the same one twice. Draw different ones. So. That one is number 2. So this is C lead. I have stretched it I'm marking where I want it to go to so I can cut it off. But I just rub the mark off with my fat fingers. So there we go. This stuff is weird to cut. I cut it flat like this. There we go. Now, you can't do a jig on a thing like this, and I don't mean you can't dance on it very rapidly. I think you know what I mean. You can't make a little wooden boundary for it. So I'm going to be using lots and lots of little nails. Yeah. Now, I have this, which is, oh, I don't know, is that 4 mil? Probably. So, where's me cutters? There we go. And there. And in there. Yeah. So hopefully you can see that the outside perimeter is going to have this neat little sea lead, and then normal lead came, and the rest of it. That one's a tiny bit long, so we'll do a bit of nibbling. There we are. And I might just nibble that one. A bit more. There we are. Okay, so we're going round. So I save these little bits for getting into tiny corners. Okay. Now, we know that this soldering iron is going to go straight through this tiny lead. So I'm going to cool it down by just putting it to another piece before I start. Now I'm going to use it on its side, not its flat, because that way I have far less risk of transferring too much heat. Yeah, that lead is too grimy and old. So hopefully you can see that is bringing the lead up the way it should be, which is basically a bit bright and not tarnished. It was worth giving it a go. Now I'm just going to have to flux it all again though. Right, more haste, less speed, as they say. Okay, off we go again. Just start it off elsewhere to take some of the heat out. And off we go. I think I already did this joint. So I'm trying to be really careful not to leave it on too long, because you know that way lies madness. But you have to leave it on long enough for it to go domed, not peaked. See, that one's peaked. Peaked again. Longer, longer, longer. They don't like it sometimes when you go back to them. Don't know why. Maybe because it's still hot. That's better. Yes, much better. Oh, that's getting hot now. Some more. So again, hope you can see, I am using it on its side so as to not transfer quite as much heat. Right, is that all of them? No. So many nails. Let's tidy this up a bit. Better, 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 better. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. And now we're going to do a little bit of decorative soldering. Now I am using tinned wire for these stamens, and that's because it's a lot more rigid than a straightforward silver coloured wire. or straightforward tinned wire, and I want it to be basically rigid. I don't want it to sort of bend about, which it might do if I just used this kind of wire, because it's just very flexible, it's very bendy. Because there's already solder all over the place, I probably don't have to do a lot more than just touch it to and heat it. There we go. I'm not going to cement it, it's utterly pointless. Now then, got a bit of heat-proof paper here, which is basically kiln paper, and I'm going to use that for my hook, so I don't burn the end of the tip of the soldering iron, and I don't burn the bench. I'm going to give it a little bit of a scarify. So there it is. I'm not going to show it in front of the window because it's opaque glass, so slightly pointless, but on the white background I think it looks really smart. So there we have it, how to make yourself a charming leaded glass ornament. So I hope that has expanded your horizons a tiny bit. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and hit the bell button, which will notify you every time I put up one of my interesting videos. Thank you.